is an election that will give us, if we get it right, it will give us breathing room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not going to save us.
Yeah.
It is frightening.
Right.
And it's not to frighten people. It's to say, look, folks, everything that you do in life, it requires sacrifice. If you want to do really well, if you want to you want to get a degree, you want to run a business, you want to have a successful show, you got to sacrifice, you got to commit, you got to put the time into it.
Yep.
Life isn't fair. And so to have a nation like the United States of America to continue as this great, nation, it's going to take sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And so I can tell you a guy like a Donald Trump who could go off and play golf and he's damn good at it,
right?
And run his resorts,
yeah,
and not have to worry about all this crap. I mean, no, he's decided that because he sees what's happening to America, and as a guy who I know who has family and who has principally grandchildren, he's like, I can't do this.
You can't sit idly by.
No, and so I'm going to sacrifice everything. And even to the point of them even trying to kill him, which they're not done trying to do.
They're not.
So we start off with Venezuela, but all this is connected.
It is,
for sure. It's all relatable. And we're gonna take a quick commercial break, but guys, we have. For this moment in time, we have General Michael Flynn here. We are going to continue talking about a lot of hot topics. Please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to right here to Patriot TV, to Homefront. We will be right back after a short message.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to talk about a limited time offer of subscriptions to Patriot.tv and how you can become a member of our Patriot Defenders subscription club and become a member of Patriot.tv. Really, it's America's network. I call it the home of truth. And you can do that for only $9.99 a month. It's a great deal by itself. But what I'm going to walk you through here in these next few seconds is a couple of package deals that we have that are unbelievable. The next membership was the annual membership at $99 that you can save. Right away, you save $20 if you come in at the annual subscription rate. The best deal that I think that people ought to seriously consider is the 2-year membership at $159. And it includes a special edition of my recently released documentary, Flynn, Deliver the Truth, Whatever the Cost. So along with the 2-year membership, the 2-year subscription will send you a DVD combo of the film, plus an option to stream the movie online, as well as exclusive interviews of Tucker Carlson, Devin Nunes, and myself. So go to the home of truth, right? Go to Patriot.tv today, sign up. Seriously consider the 2-year subscription rate. It's an unbelievable savings. I think it's a total savings of about $70 from just signing up on a monthly or a annual basis. So thank you very much for your support. Patriot.tv is America's new network. Thank you.
Back to the home front, guys. We have a lot of hot topics we're covering today. You just saw a commercial for a Patriot TV. Listen, if you like this uncensored platform, if you like the fact that we can talk about everything that's important to us, you're not going to hear this on mainstream media. If you haven't figured out yet that the 3-letter agencies are in bed with the 3-letter news agencies, then you've got to catch up here. We are asking that you will help us here at Patriot TV. Do you like the home front? Do you like the fact that it can come right to your home by what you're watching? Then make sure you subscribe to that premium membership. We as Patriots have to support Patriot TV. We've got General Michael Flynn here. I think Sierra had a quick question for him.
I do. So, in this world where it's okay for men to punch women and everybody's just lets that happen. And then the female apologized for getting upset. She did. She apologized for getting upset.
Wow.
We're talking about the Olympics.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what?
So 1700.
Yeah. It's great. I think it's worse. Because they weren't pretending to be girls then.
Right.
So so what role can Christians or the church do to kind of counteract this?
Yeah. Well, number one, everybody has to speak out against this. This is insane. It's it's perverted. It's perverted our entire society. I mean, this forced, infusion of this idea that that boys can be girls and girls can be boys, and the whole thing, and especially in sports. I mean, and I was joking with you guys earlier about having a bunch of sisters. All of them were athletes, and all of them, and I have I have a couple of cousins, one of whom actually won 2 gold medals in the U.S. Olympics
That's
back in the
awesome.
80s, and as a swimmer. I have a niece that was a world, really, I think she was a world-class swimmer as well, and I used to go to her meets, and if a guy jumped into the pool at that time, it'd be like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But now we allow it, and this business about boxing, which at least the International Boxing Association has come out and said this, enough is enough. We can't have this anymore, because there is a massive difference. And I will tell you, I'll take it back to my time in the military, because I was part of studies to demonstrate the abilities of women and men when we were talking about bringing women into different segments of the armed forces. You're talking about allowing women into the infantry as an example.
Right.
So the whole idea about, and I'll just talk about what I have personal experience about, and it has to do with load bearing, right?
Mhm.
Right.
What a
It's
man
very
can
different.
carry, right?
It's
What a
different.
man can carry on his back
Yeah.
in a rucksack, in a backpack that the military issues you,
Yeah.
versus what a woman can carry, and even all of the different physiological differences that I became very familiar with as we were looking at making judgments about whether or not we were going to allow women into certain parts of the military, where you had to pick up weapon systems, you had to carry something that just weighed more. Even though I might be 130 pounds and you might be 130 pounds, the difference in the strength is totally
It's
different.
very different.
And when you're talking about boxing as an example, because I did boxing years ago in a boys club system in what they call the silver mittens and the golden gloves. I mean, I can tell you that, you might, when you're 7 years old playing on a soccer field, the little girl might be a little faster, but when you get up to where you're at an Olympic caliber and you've been training against, and you're a man, I don't care whether you're wearing lipstick or not, you're a
You're
man in
still
the
a man.
boxing ring,
Yes.
that your strength is vastly different.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, so whether it's in a boxing arena, whether it's on a wrestling mat, whether it's in a swimming pool, or any of these other sports that they're considering. I mean, the ridiculousness of it is, what? I didn't watch much of the Olympics,
I didn't either.
but one of the things that I watched was the rugby tournaments.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of rugby.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the rugby tournaments, and I was watching the Irish team, and they got beat. I think it was they got beat by it was either Brazil or Argentina. And I didn't see any women on that.
I don't know any
field.
woman that would get
And
on the field. With
Now there are female
rugby
there's female rugby teams.
Wow.
I've watched them.
Yeah.
I've watched them. I think my sister Mary used to play when years ago in a community league.
Not
But
against men though.
not against men.
Not against men.
But when
That's
you-
a whole
she's
different
pretty-
So you're
ballgame.
not going to
She's pretty
see
cool.
you're not going to see that kind of physicality
Right.
because they would kill them.
Absolutely.
Boxing could actually kill that.
Yes.
And I
Right.
felt so bad when that poor woman who was probably told by her coaches and her country leadership, you got to apologize.
This is
Wow.
weakness.
I
This
mean-
is all weakness.
Wow.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like it is weak men
Well, and we
create
had
hard times.
the
And it puts women
commentators-
and children in danger.
The commentators
exactly.
were sitting there making every other excuse. I mean, if you just saw this woman get punched twice, I don't know how you sit there and go, well, her dad died. I think that's why she pulled out.
Yeah.
To not call out that from happening is really telling.
Well, and the
too.
crazy thing is, I feel old, but I'm not that old. And when I was in high school, it was right when girls started wrestling. They were getting involved. They didn't have a girls' side, so
Yeah.
girls were wrestling against guys. And my friend was a collegiate wrestler, and he would bow out instead of wrestle a girl because he felt ashamed to do it. He knew it was wrong.
Right.
So why aren't we speaking out about this now? Like, how have we gone this far? What
Yeah.
can we do?
Well, I think one of the things and what you asked me really about earlier was about the Christian community and where are Christians at, right? So I just spent 3 days just this past week, and less than a week, 3 days with about 500 pastors, and they call themselves the Remnant Alliance. It's a body of people, a really kind of cool organization, and we talked about all these things. And it's this idea about, like I said right away, people got to speak out. I think from this country's perspective, so people understand that the Christian community in the United States of America is the largest voting bloc in this country. It's like 67 or 68%. Inside of that bloc are Catholics. The Catholics are the largest voting bloc in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like 46 or 47% within the wider Christian community. All of this stuff about, you know, the everything like the abortion issue, the breakdown of the families, this whole transgenderism, you know, right? The enforcing of some idiotic, perverted, you know, delusional
Religion.
idea.
It's like a religion.
It is. Talk about a cult, right?
cult.
They'll call
It is.
MAGA, you're cultish. No, bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
so it's delusional and it's perverted.
Mhm.
And when you think about what we are arguing about at school boards across this country, never mind, you know, boys being allowed in girls' sports, you know. And like I said, you know, it's one thing to like a bunch of 6-year-olds running around, but when you start to develop, it's a completely different, you know, idea. It's a different person.
Yes.
So the Christian community has been too quiet. I do believe, and I could probably get you guys in trouble here too. But I mean,
Go ahead.
you know, well, if you got, you know, if you you look at the different within the Christian community, we have all of these different ecumenical faiths. So like Lutheran, Methodist, Episcopalian, Presbyterian. You have Catholic, Lutheran. I mentioned. You know, so you have different components of the Christian community, and there's not one real, you know, big message that you know, they're not all driving towards the same end state to say, look, this is wrong. If the Christian community ever got together, and that's why I mentioned this Remnant Alliance, because in it is the idea to bring together pastors primarily from around the country to get on the same sheet. I don't care if you're a Presbyterian, a Catholic, a Lutheran, but we cannot accept this.
Yeah.
And I'll finish with this, that the one thing, and this is for anybody that's listening, the one thing that is the same, I don't care what Christian faith you practice, even if you're non-denominational, right? You just go to you know, because you like some pastor on a Sunday. The one thing that is the exact same for us all is the doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctrine is the Bible, right? That's the doctrine that we all stick to. Now you can go King James Version or whatever version, but the doctrine is the same.
Yeah.
So the interpretation, you know, can be in the eye of the beholder sometimes, but there's been some great theologians that have really interpreted it, and it's not arguable, especially with things that they have found through archaeological digs.
Yeah.
So what's different are traditions.
Yeah.
So the traditions of, you know, how many, you know, like if you're a Catholic, it's like you're on your knees, you're standing up. I mean, you know, you go through all, you know,
Mass, yeah.
all these different traditions that exist within those faiths. And that's where we tend to break apart. And then you have these little petty arguments, you know, between these different Christian faiths about, well, I think this is okay, and it's okay for this. It's not okay for children.
Right.
You know, if people want to accept a particular behavior, and you're an adult, I'm one of these guys that's like, you know, I'm not going to sit there and judge you, because I'm not Jesus Christ, but I'm not going to judge that.
Yeah.
But my red line is children. And when we start to force the idea that, well, this is okay for children to do, and we have defined what a child is.
Yes.
Below the age of 18.
Yes.
In our society, below the age of 18, that is a child. You know, it's not an adult. If you're 18 and over,
minor.
you're a minor.
Minor.
And you know, you got these crazy people so you got these people that are attending church. Okay, so this is my pet peeve. You got these people that attend church, and I'm a Catholic. I know Catholics do this too. That attend church and they sit there and they pretend.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're going to leave that church, you're going to leave that service after hearing all about how we got to protect life, we got to protect the family, we got to, all these things that the doctrine tells us that we have to do, and you walk out and you vote for this crap, you vote for this garbage, then either the pastor is not leading you in the right direction, or you're a fool.
Hypocrite.
and you're a total hypocrite.
Absolutely.
And if you do that, you're buying into propaganda
Yes.
because you've just fallen for it. You've fallen for this this line, whatever they say,
Yes.
hook, line, and sinker, right?
That line keeps moving. And
Yeah.
I feel like the
Yes.
left, what they do is, if you look at it historically, they push hard, right, for one agenda.
Mhm.
And we push back. But then we always meet in the middle. So we're always losing.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Always
That line keeps
losing.
moving
And we're
and
just
shifting.
gradually, and then we all get used to it. And then boom, here we come again with another agenda. And we go through the same thing and we're
Right.
meeting in the middle. And I'm like, we can't go backwards now.
And they're really smart. They constantly
Wicked
change.
smart,
So they
yes.
adapt, the narrative, right? The narrative, the idea about, propaganda and projection.
Change
the
words.
And they're
idea-
not
And
afraid
definitions.
either. They're
Yeah.
not afraid.
Yeah.
I think pastors and Christians and people like me are very often too afraid to speak out for
Yeah.
what's true, and they're not afraid to push boundaries or just be crazy.
Well, and that's how we got here prior to COVID. Is that I think conservatives or Christians, we're all busy raising families, paying our bills, enjoying our life. We don't want to infringe upon you, but when you come for us and for our children, it's like through COVID when they sent them home to distance learn, and you started hearing what was being.
no.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
I had to
the
do was just say
mask.
no. That's it.
Yeah,
I say that too all the
Say
time.
no.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
You know-
I do wanted to touch really quick on what you said. I don't know if our audience picked it up, but when you were talking about how kids, they're kind of physiologically the same until they hit puberty.
Mhm.
You didn't specifically say puberty, but that's where it was.
Yeah,
you
at a certain
alluded to
point
that.
in time,
Right.
that's right.
They hit a certain plateau, and you can definitely tell the difference between a boy and a girl. And I think that was important to hone in on, because what are they doing to our youth right now? They're pumping them full
Confusing
of
them.
puberty blockers,
Yes.
Right.
which leads to equal outcomes. Do you see where this comes from?
It's
Do you
a
see
genderless
this
society.
exactly?
Yes.
Genderless society. Everybody has the same role, or they play very many different roles against each other, and that is the destruction of society.
Yeah.
It also messes with fertility,
Absolutely.
which just destroys the family and reduces the population.
Absolutely.
I
That's-
think it's all
100%.
connected.
Which
with
complete
that.
it is all for death and destruction. That is all the communist left is.
And what I'm noticing
Yeah.
is they are really going after, the left goes after and controls the language. Now they're coming up with this minor attracted people.
Oh my
Don't call
God.
them that. They're pedophiles.
But you start saying that, and when you digest that in your brain, you're going, it's
Yeah.
a minor.
It's
So
a sickness.
Yeah.
It's
It
a
is.
deviancy
Yeah.
in a person's mind who thinks that that kind of behavior with children
yes.
is appropriate, and it's beyond inappropriate. It's a sickness. I mean, these are mentally ill people,
Yes.
and that a lot of that has been proven. And so I just think that we're in a place now where and let's just kind of the from the home front perspective, right? I mean, I think a show like this, and because you guys mentioned COVID, so much has changed because people in this country started to say this is not right.
Right.
Yeah.
So we
They
have
pushed it too far.
yeah, they pushed it. They went
Yeah.
way
went
over.
too
the
far.
line.
They pushed
And
us
so-
too far.
Right,
Okay.
and so
They
you've got
pushed the moms.
you've got this voice now, and everybody wants this type of voice. People want to hear from different people that are willing to be fearless and speak out because you got millions of people out there that just sort of sit at home and they're like worried about what the heck is going to happen. I mean, people in this country are genuinely afraid of what is going on in our country, and I will tell you that 95% of people can't do much about it. They can't do much about it.
Yeah.
And so what they want is they want to hear from people that they trust. They want to hear like little things like, okay, so what are the solutions for me?
Mhm.
I'm sitting at
Amen.
home, I've either got grandkids that I'm worried about, or I have children that are still at grade school, and I got to get them off to school, and maybe for most part of this country, we have single moms,
Mhm.
and we're that's just a society because the breakdown of the family was intentionally started back in the late 60s and early 70s. It's
Yes.
intentionally done
Yep.
to destroy the family. And now that momentum has picked up, and now it's to destroy this idea of what of what humanity really is and what God created, right?
Liberty, sovereignty, freedom.
Exactly. So it's all at risk.
Or gender.
And so people are now looking, or gender. It's all at risk.
All, yeah.
All of it.
And if we don't understand that, and we vote because, well, orange man bad, right?
Right.
I mean, get over it. Get over
Absolutely.
it. And I will tell you that these people on the left, they're not done. And I'm talking about in the next few weeks. They're not done deciding how they are going to do this, meaning how they are going to stay in power. Because the question that a lot of people ask, and they ask me all the time, like, why are they doing this? Don't these people, aren't they already rich? And aren't they already in power?
Because
yeah,
absolute power corrupts.
Money,
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Like, we've known this.
Exactly. It's because they want more power. And back to what you had asked me early on at the beginning, there is this global competition for resources, and the United States has everything that our country needs right here.
Yeah.
And yet we have this tendency to do all these things all over the world for all these other countries who don't care about us, frankly.
Yeah.
And now we've reached a point, and this kind of brings it back to the sort of the home front. Now we've reached a point where we got to work hard to inform people about sort of the who, what's, when's, where's, and why's, right? Like, why is this happening? What do I need to do about it? How do I engage? Because all of you are all involved locally, and God, if we just, just looking at the local area that we're a part of here, to me, it's like, you think that, we're in Florida and everything should be hunky-dory.
Right.
Hell, we got people, we got people like jumping from one party to go and for primaries to go to another party. I mean, these people are evil.
He said
this
it.
is evil. Where's the camera?
No
Dude, there are people that think this isn't happening. We have people
whatever.
sitting currently in positions of perceived power that we've given them that are sitting at this table, not at this table, but at their table, and they're saying that they're excited that the Republicans are outnumbering the Democrats, but are completely ignorant to the fact that it's Democrats that are changing their party affiliation to register as Republicans so they can vote for the establishment. What is happening?
Wow.
No
That's
moral
crazy.
compass.
And you just heard it from America's General, guys. It's happening.
I know.
So you have like these Trojan horses, right? I mean, the whole story of Troy. So these Trojan horses exist at every single level, and the sort of the communist regime that exists that's sort of behind all this. So you have a Trojan horse, for example, fentanyl. The introduction of fentanyl in the United States of America through Mexican drug cartels, right? Mm-hmm. Chinese made, Chinese produced, Chinese, sort of in terms of the commercial world, how they're trafficking it to Mexico. Then the Mexican cartels take it, they bring it into this country. That's a Trojan horse inside of our country that is destroying the fabric of our society. It's destroying our school systems, our healthcare systems, crime on the streets. It's the whole thing. That's a giant Trojan horse. Now you take it from that level. So that's a nation state, in this case China, that's done that. So that's like an act of war.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
We have people killed in action in the streets of America, and certainly wounded in action. Then you take it down to this last conversation we were having about people in the Democrat Party of this country that have infiltrated the Republican Party, and they do this all the time, folks. They've been doing it for a long time. So they infiltrate in candidates, and then they infiltrate in votes. Mm-hmm. And it's happening right here in our hometown.
Yes.
So
it happened to me when I ran for school board.
It happens across the country because, frankly, and it's not to say that we're this perfect conservative party, but conservatives are conservatives, and they typically are going to follow an ethical path. It doesn't mean that they're all that way, because we have some bums in the GOP. I mean, absolutely bums and corrupt criminals that need to be dealt with.
Yes.
But generally, in general, the conservative sort of ethical path that we would follow is one that says, okay, this is the way you do it, so this is how we're going to do it. Because typically our platforms are always about, trying to make things better and trying to get rid of the corruption, and trying to get rid of the graft that happens, right? So Whereas the other side, they don't care.
No.
They don't.
They don't
care.
care.
They just want to win.
It's about winning. It's about
winning.
power. And
Yep.
if you look at the amount of money that comes in, particularly even into this local community, but when you look at so Homefront, right? The people that are watching this, you all know what I'm talking about. If you're in some state, you're in some town, you're in some home today watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Whether it's in your school board, whether it's on your sheriff, whether it's in your town or parish or city council, whether it's in your election commission, it's all like, and we say to ourselves, how did we get here?
Right.
Yeah.
How
It's
did
like we
get
took
here?
our eyes off of, I know I always thought somebody else was handling it.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise a family.
Yeah.
You're going to take care of this other
Right.
thing. And that's why I love your message of, and we'll probably get into this later, of, local action equals a national impact, because we like to give our viewers, General, we like to give them homework from the home front, trying to
Yeah.
direct that, okay, you've kind of gotten
Solutionary.
stirred during this discussion, here's your part to do. We are going to take just a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more of the home front, so stay tuned.
Looks like you've been sleeping well,
Megan, he's back. The My Pillow guy.
and you're looking good.
Still feeling good.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any better, we've got the best pillow ever, My Pillow 2.0. When I invented My Pillow, it had everything you'd ever want in a pillow. Well, now there's new technology that makes it even better. My Pillow 2.0 has my patented fill combined with a cooling fabric with temperature regulating thread. My Pillow 2.0 is truly the next generation of My Pillow.
Now's the time to go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use the promo code to save 50% on your MyPillow 2.0. Not only that, for a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free.
You're sleeping even better.
And cooler, too.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
Okay, guys, welcome back to the Homefront. Thanks so much for joining us. We're right here on Patriot TV. You can visit us at thehomefront.tv as well. We've got America's General Michael Flynn, sitting here at the table with us. I did have a quick question, and this is kind of a little more international. So I have a brother who is at 56 years old, still went back into the Army because he loves service. Like, this is just something, God bless him. So he's in Iraq, and I'm hearing kind of mixed stories, but I just heard Speaker Mike Johnson say that if Iran attacks Israel, it's full-on war with the U.S. and Iran. And I think about all of our troops now in the way. You look at Ukraine, so I know you have a special heart for this. Why are we always, what is with the endless war?
Yeah.
This has been going on for a while.
Yeah, well, wow. So
Sorry.
I'm not a big,
It's a
well,
big
no,
question.
so just to kind of get my cards on the table here, I'm not a fan of the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Here, here.
I don't think many people are.
And I just, I think everybody thought, oh, this guy's, with all of his fake Christian stuff. I just find him less than satisfying in terms of being able to do anything. He hasn't achieved anything.
Sure.
Had absolute opportunity to do so much,
Yes.
and has
done
done very little. So Iran and Israel and the Middle East and Iraq and all this business. The other day, so I don't know if you guys are aware, but we first of all, we spent almost $10 trillion in Iraq, in that whole region, that part. Not, Afghanistan was another 6 or 7 trillion. So you're looking at $20 trillion. It's unbelievable. It's money. When people look at it, and when we say our debt is 33 trillion, people go, it's right. Like, I can't even imagine.
Right.
We have $11.
So the other day, Iraq, their parliament voted to change the marrying age from 15 to 9. Okay.
Oh, wait.
So talking about puberty earlier, right? These people are sick. So this is a sick society. And we're still pouring money into Iraq. So we are still giving money to Iraq. And all of this stuff for all these countries that are part and parcel to this radical way of life, we ought to just shut them off. And this is the kind of stuff where a Speaker of the House can set the agenda. So where are we at now? I will tell you that Iran has already, in one day, fired 350 missiles at Israel. Israel was able to defend themselves pretty well for that one attack, which was a big attack. But Israel right now is in a really bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Israel, this is not about, so I will delineate it between Israel, which will never disappear,
Right.
and the state of Israel, which could very well disappear.
Mhm.
Okay? So the state of Israel is in the survival mode. This is not about winning a war against Hamas or Hezbollah or some of these other, or Iran. This is about surviving. And I believe right now we are in a place where the use of nuclear weapons is on the table more than at the height of the Cold War, probably even more leaning forward than when we had the Cuban Missile Crisis back in the early 60s. So countries like North Korea, okay, Pakistan is aligned with China. North Korea is aligned with China and Iran. North Korea is aligned with Syria. So again, back to this alliance thing that I talked about and how it's formed. Russia just recently talked about providing Iran some more sophisticated weaponry, right? Air defense missiles and some other new stuff that's actually pretty powerful. So if you look at Hezbollah, which is geographically to the north side of Israel, Gaza and Hamas to the south. Now the weaponry that Hezbollah has by Hezbollah alone. So Hezbollah has probably somewhere between 20 and 30,000 missiles, right? Rockets, primarily rockets. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So that deserves a
Is that
wow.
any
Like
of
that
the
deserves
stuff-
like a holy
Is
crap.
that any of the stuff that
Wow.
we left in the
No,
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan.
different.
But that's also that we're seeing that on the
all
black
in
market
play.
right now.
Mhm.
And but so if there was a strategic attack against Israel that was in an overwhelming way that lasted more than 24 hours, the state of Israel would be destroyed.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And Israel would then have to make a decision: how do we retaliate?
Mm.
So do we retaliate by using sophisticated weapon systems, meaning nuclear weapons maybe, or others? I stated today on my on a post that I put on X about the use of atomic or nuclear. And atomic weapons are weapons that we used, the United States used in Japan, in
Right.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So all of what I'm talking about is we're in a really we're in a place where a time where I don't think that we're going to see this last beyond the election. So if we're all waiting for Donald Trump to come in, I actually think that there's going to have to be some decisions made here very soon.
Right.
And Iran has already said they are going to retaliate for actions that the United States took while President Trump was in office when he made the decision to kill Soleimani. The recent decisions that Iran made when they attacked and some of the leaders of the Palestinian movement. So they've already said they're going to retaliate. My concern.
It's like strike when your opponent is weak.
Yeah.
Look at who we have sitting currently in our
Exactly,
administration.
and
We have
remind me
weak
because it says
leadership.
I call him a sundowner, but Biden's a sundowner. So the challenges, and back to the home front, back to why does it matter for what's going on over there? One, we're spending a ton more money. We're losing prestige. We're
Right.
your brother's in Iraq. There's other people there's other military forces. We just had 3 U.S. service members killed by Iranian rockets the other day. I mean, this is
Yes.
so it affects us there, but it affects us here because the nation of Iran has already said they will retaliate here in the United States of America.
And do you
So-
think?
Go
Do you
ahead.
think
No.
that they would retaliate on our soil?
Absolutely.
Like, as a parent, should I
Absolutely.
be
So- so what-
prepared
so
for
part of-
some kind of nuclear war that would affect us here?
Yeah, not that here, but other things that they could do. And it's sad, but all of us. So like, what do I do? I mean, other than like get involved in your communities and do more. Like if you thought that you were doing enough, do more.
Step up.
Just add
Step
more
up.
to the plate.
But I do think that and I have grandchildren, so when I'm with them, I'm like around in places, right? I like I want them to be situationally aware, meaning when I was a kid, my mother would throw us out of the house, and tell us to go play in the street.
Yes.
Don't come
Right?
back till the streetlights are on.
Right. I mean, they would do that, and and we'd go into the next town. I mean, this is when I was a kid, And now when I could ride a bike, it was worse.
Because then you were everywhere.
Yeah, and so you're doing stuff, and you're in the neighborhoods, and we never really thought about it that much. Now it's totally different, and so I'd never mind the child trafficking that's going on in this country, but these kinds of threats are very real. And so when you're in places that in the mall areas, these people will do things that are so outrageous, so egregious, and their consciousness of human life is totally different than yours.
Absolutely.
Totally different. So to kill is not something that, and now does that mean that, so warfare. So we bomb a military target, expecting that the retaliation would be against another military target.
Right. No. And it's not.
Get over that.
Ever.
So
folks.
not the rules of engagement anymore.
Nope.
Get over that. That those days of warfare are gone. That's why, I'm into this 5th generation warfare stuff and have defined it. But I just think that in this country right now, people need to be aware that with really lousy leadership, and I was joking a bit, but not totally. So I called Joe Biden, because I've watched this, and smart people and people that are inside too, they call it the sundowner effect, meaning that Joe is when he gets up in the morning, he's lucid.
Right.
Let's just say 8 o'clock in the morning. And he can go till about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and he starts to lose it. He starts to go back into because he's that age, right? The effects of his age have caught up with him a lot earlier than maybe somebody else who's in their 90s,
and
right?
being quadruple vaccinated,
And they call it the sundowner effect. So when the sun goes down, Joe's not around, right?
I love that. That's perfect. Guys, we are almost all out of time, but General, we like to end every episode of the Home Front with prayer. We like to unite with our audience and unite here because we're 2 or more gathered, so is he.
Yes.
So do you mind if we pray?
Not at all.
All
Please,
right.
please.
So,
Great.
Father God, we just come before you today. We thank you for this time here. We thank you for those like General Michael Flynn who have served and his family. We ask that you put your blanket of protection over him, over his family, over all of our men and women in the military right now serving. Lord, I ask that you please elect allow those people to go into seats of authority that will submit their will to yours. Please continue to expose corruption at every level of those 7 mountains of cultural influence. We ask you this, Lord, in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Guys, that was wonderful. And so don't forget, General Flynn always says, local action equals a national impact. What can you do? We have primary elections here in the state of Florida. I don't know when yours are, where you're viewing us from. August 20th is right here in the state of Florida. Get out and vote.
And early elections start when? They start pretty soon.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday is early elections,
Yeah,
and then
Sunday.
August 20th is the election day. Get out and vote. Only about, I think, 13% of Republicans actually show up to vote.
It's terrible.
Also, there's like 65% of evangelical Christians that sit this one out. So did something we talk about today ignite a little bit of a burning in your spirit? Then you need to do your part and get out and vote. Also, I want you to make sure you go to patriot.tv and make sure that you watch. Jason and Amanda are coming up after this. They've got that wonderful show, Off Topic. If you haven't seen that, it's
so
kind of a
good.
cool show. Go to the homefront.tv to follow more of us. And General Flynn, where can they go to? Where are you on all social
They
media
go to
platforms?
patriot.tv. I mean, just, I think for people, I call it the home of truth. And one of the things, if we have a second, on Patriot
about 30
TV,
seconds.
patriot.tv, all the other big networks, I know this for a fact, they put out talking points at the beginning and they say, here's the script that you're going to have to stick to, and you're going to talk about these today.
Yep.
They'll talk to different audiences and different guests, but they'll have that script.
Yes.
This is an unscripted network.
This is.
And so, it's like you guys have the con, you decide what you're going to talk about, and you tee it up and you go for it. And I think that that's something that, to me, that authenticity and that honesty is what we need in communications today.
Well, I'll tell you, courage is contagious, and I
Yes,
don't know
it
about
is.
everybody else, but we have gotten it from you.
Yeah, well,
Somebody that
appreciate it.
could have already served this country and been done, and you chose to still serve. Join us for more of the Home Front, guys. We'll see you next time.